To kick things off for this week and today, I thought I'd start with a bit of news on the lighter side. This is a story that came across about a popular haircut that is sparking outrage across Texas. Now, this is a haircut that we have referred to obliquely on the show, usually in conjunction with gangs of people who steal catalytic converters. But I thought this would take some further explanation. Headline here: Popular haircut sparks outrage across Texas as the restaurant threatens to ban customers sporting divisive style. Felix, you know what haircut they're talking about?
Yes, this is the Edgar. This is the bowl cut that has swept the nation since 2022. I don't really think it's divisive.
Well,
let me take a look at this.
It says a popular haircut known.
I mean, these are just Latinos.
Yeah, it's a Latino bowl cut. What is divisive about that?
If a white kid has this, like I looked it up on Google Images and I see a white blonde kid, and I think maybe that kid should catch some shit, but the Mexican guys, I think that's just like, you're just racist against Mexican guys.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's divisive.
If a white blonde kid has this, it's like, okay, you're the village yokel. You were a squire and you got kicked in the head by a horse, but now you delight the Duke.
Yeah. You reply to Melanie Mac.
Exactly. But if you're Mexican and have this, you could really...
You're a genius.
You could do whatever you want. You could be a genius. You can be a regular guy. You can be...
A bowl cut is a symbol of genius in many cultures.
Yeah. No, it represents equilibrium.
The news article says here, a popular haircut known as the Edgar has sparked backlash, with some restaurants and schools seeking to ban those who sport it. So, yeah, I mean, keep in mind, this is Texas. So, I mean, this is just, we're banning Latinos from public accommodations. But it says here, the bowl-shaped cut, which has been compared to a modern Moe of Three Stooges and Spock of Star Trek look, is typically favored by Mexican-American young men who are known as Edgars. And then going on here in the article, it says here, this is a restaurant. It says, following the melee, local restaurateur Ricky Ortiz posted a meme with "No Edgars" sign on social media, suggesting he did not want anyone with the haircut in his popular restaurants El Camino, Besame, Chula, and Perfect Tender.
Those restaurants sound terrible. Those restaurants sound fucking terrible. Those I bet.
How are you banning? How are you going to ban Mexican
you can't
people?
get a fucking single dish in that restaurant without fucking the worst aioli ever mixed into it.
Those don't sound good. El Camino?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a car.
Yeah. I'm sure that translates to something.
Oh, no. And then another name, the last restaurant mentioned was Perfect Tender. Is this a Tendies restaurant that has like the perfect chicken tender?
Well, it means the way. It means the way. That's not a good name for a restaurant. It's the way you eat.
Yeah,
it's like it should be called. That should be the name of like a lifestyle brand or
a dojo,
maybe like a self-help guy, a life coach. The way.
But no, yeah, those restaurants. He sounds like he runs the most annoying fucking type of restaurant. I bet the Perfect Tender place is like, it's one of those shitty like new barbecue places where you have to get like a lunch tray even though you're an adult man.
Oh, it's a reference to the Perfect Tender rule.
What the fuck is that?
What's the Perfect Tender rule?
It refers to the legal right of a buyer of goods to insist upon perfect tender by the seller.
That has not been a thing since William Jennings Bryan was running for president. That's like free silver politics. That doesn't apply anymore.
We will not be crucified on a cross of asparagus aioli.
Yeah.
It says here, Ricky Ortiz, the owner of El Camino and several other dining establishments, later said he was only joking about not allowing Edgars into his business. Several young men with Edgar haircuts are suspects in a capital murder case in San Antonio, Texas, for a May 2022 murder. But Ortiz, a first-generation American of Mexican parents, defended his comments. People are accusing me of racism, are speaking from a place of ignorance, he told the publication. They don't want to acknowledge or admit that the majority of the kids that are getting these haircuts want to be in a culture influenced by gang affiliation and things like that. He is not alone, with the anti-Edgar movement spreading to other cities as well. In El Paso, students led an effort to get the hairstyle banned from a Riverside high school in 2021. Especially in El Paso, we've had a lot of crimes that were committed by people who just happen to have the same haircut. He said, the administrator of El Paso's most popular Instagram account.
This is how a caveman like interprets events. Oh, it must be the haircut.
Yeah, and also if you say the suspects can be identified by their haircut, they're going to shave their heads. They probably don't even have it anymore because it's on the news. It says that we're looking for 4 Edgars. Also, I didn't realize you could do that at a high school. You could like do a poll if people like a specific haircut and you could just ban it. Like, why didn't people would have done that with emo kids or something if they had that when we were growing up? It would have said like that if it's in front of your face, we're banning it because it's gay. That's what middle school would have been like.
I cannot stress, though, I mean, there are a number of very high-profile murder cases going on in the country right now that in which the accused are men who have hair. So, I mean, just be on the lookout for that.
Also, if you get killed by a guy with a bowl cut,
yeah. If you couldn't,
do you even want to admit to that? Like,
what are you, a wealthy dowager?
If a member of my family got killed with someone with a bowl cut, I would never tell anybody. I would say they got cancer. They fell into a manhole. I would say don't even press charges.
Yeah, a member of my family was outsmarted by Friar Tuck. No, thank you.
I gotta say here, the administrator of El Paso's most popular Instagram account is an account called @TheRealFitFam El Paso. He also asked to remain anonymous. Where we are now, we just kind of correlate these guys to be bad dudes, even though there's plenty of good dudes with the same cut. Still, others argue the look has Native American roots, specifically the Jumano tribe that lived in the Lone Star State between the 1500s and 1700s. The haircut and aesthetic could be read as resisting Western notions of beauty or style. Sonia M. Aleman, associate professor in race, ethnicity, gender, and sexuality studies at the University of Texas at San Antonio, told the Dallas Morning News. Regardless of its origin, it's unclear if the controversial hairstyle is a dying trend or here to stay. One barber, Carlos Flores, 19, in Kyle, Texas, said he averages about 7 requests for Edgar haircuts a day from young Mexican-American men in Central Texas. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't do an Edgar haircut, he told NBC News. So they're trying to stamp out the Edgar, but it's not going to work.
I guess you could argue it's sort of an indigenous thing, like Evo Morales. Yeah. If he was a white guy, he couldn't get away with that haircut. It's not quite
That's not
this.
Edgar.
No, Evo Morales is it's totally different.
It's within the bowl cut family. I'm just saying he gets a pass for
it. But it's like it's so different. Like Evo Morales, there's like I'd say that like 70% of his haircut is normal, up to 70% of it. It is
kind of parted in the middle.
Cut. Yeah, exactly.
It's a little bit of like an 80s sitcom dad look.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think Joe Biden should try it.
You would look younger. You know, bangs do make you look younger.
I just think it's funny that there are like controversial haircuts that are. I mean, like they're reemerging. The idea of a dangerous and controversial haircut is very funny to me. So to move on from the world of Edgars, let's talk about events in the Red Sea and Prosperity Guardian. I wonder how many people in the U.S. Navy have Edgar haircuts. I mean, it's probably not up to code, but they should change that, because otherwise we're going to be guarding prosperity.
You could get it if you're a Navy SEAL. You know, if you're special forces, they let you get whatever haircut you want because you have to blend in. I'm sure there's at least like one Navy SEAL or one Delta Force guy who has it. You know, he's trying to infiltrate a tweet decking ring. Perhaps
you have to smuggle the shadow barber onto the army base because the regular barber isn't going to give you one of those. But there's a barber who's in the shadows at night. You have to visit him only at night, and he will give you that haircut. And you have to pay him in drugs that were smuggled in.
Well, that's easy enough. It's easy enough at most major American military bases. I just want to read this briefly from the Wall Street Journal. It says the headline here is how an Iranian-backed militia ties down U.S. naval forces in the Red Sea. And just like the money paragraph here is here at the end, where it states, The Navy says it has spent about $1 billion on munitions used in defending the Red Sea, conducting more than 450 strikes and intercepting more than 200 drones and missiles since November when the attacks began. U.S. officials worry that the conflict is simply not sustainable for the U.S. defense industrial base, already strained by the demands for weaponry from Ukraine and Israel. Their supply of weapons from Iran is cheap and highly sustainable, but ours is expensive. Our supply chains are crunched and our logistics tails are long, said Emily Harding of the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington. We are playing whack-a-mole and they are playing a long game. So, I mean, it's interesting the contrast between like the defense industries of the United States, which is just pure corporate welfare that like is designed to make everything as expensive and complicated as possible, and the people who are currently tying up commercial traffic in the Red Sea and causing us to spend $1 billion to shoot down their drones, which are 1/millionth as expensive as a single missile fired from one of these ships. But
I want to see how good that shit in the shipping containers is, because if it's stuff from Temu, that's not worth it. It's got to be gold. Like, even if they were all filled with gold, they might still be losing money. I don't know.
It's so fucking embarrassing to be America and like run out of missiles.
I know.
It's not like you knew this was going to happen. You knew that you were going to go to the Red Sea and like fire a bunch of missiles. You weren't prepared. Like, that's supposed to be our one thing. Everything. That was what everyone said. You're going to find out why we're all dying of fentanyl overdoses. Houthis. You're going to find out why we all can't read. Nope. We can't even make enough missiles. I bet like the Navy and the Air Force are really proud of this new missile they're making called the Mako. That's like, it's hypersonic. It goes Mach 5, not with a ballistic trajectory, just straight off of propulsion. I bet it doesn't even have a fucking warhead. I bet they forgot to put a warhead. I bet it just thuds into things.
Was the speed the issue?
No. I mean,
they weren't shooting fast enough until now. I don't think that was the issue. They go pretty fast.
I don't know why you need a Mach 5 air-launched cruise missile. Who are you fighting, Sonic?
It impresses the boss. It shows initiative. You came up with a project.
I mean, I think it's like our fucking pharmaceutical industry where like they have a drug that works and then they like add some like, you know, time release patent on it so that they can keep it out of the public domain for another 70 years. But like what I mean is this is the wages of our defense industry that like creates weapons, not so much to win or fight wars, but just to keep making money forever. And now, you know, now they're figuring out much, I guess, like cheaper weapons, but like the Houthis in Iran and their militias, like they design and use weapons that suit the battle that they find themselves in. Whereas we're just parking, and all of this is just a preamble to say that I saw a news report last week from News Nation where they embedded a journalist on board the USS Eisenhower, which is the main aircraft carrier that's currently in the Red Sea and like managing like all of these different attacks going on, and in it, and I had to give a shout out to Seamus Melikavseli as well, who put me onto the Twitter account of the captain of the USS Eisenhower, who is a guy who goes by the name of Chris Chowda Hill. He goes by Chowda Hill on Twitter because he's from Massachusetts. And I swear to God,
nice.
This is the first time in my life I've ever really like felt that we have like a DEI woke military that's going to lose against China and Russia. Because when I saw this shit, because like, first of all, in the News Nation package, the captain of the USS Eisenhower says plainly and without any irony, what's our mission here? It's to save lives, to put it quite simply. And it's just like, and then Felix, you saw the other guy who said like he was asked by the journalist, you know, what keeps you up at night here in the Red Sea? And he's like, I don't know about what keeps me up at night. I keep the Houthis up at night. That's what I'm doing.
That was one of the most dishonest answers I've ever seen given to a news reporter. He sounded like Courage the Cowardly Dog. He does not believe that.
I don't worry about anything, even though we're losing.
Yeah, I
get paid either way.
I scare the Houthis.
These container ships, I don't think they're even coming for us. Like, they would be going through the Pacific, right? I think they're destined for Europe. So fuck them.
Yeah.
Why don't they do it? Trump is right. Why doesn't NATO pay for this shit? It should be Germany going down there. I don't care what happens in that hemisphere. That's not my problem.
We're spending $1 billion making sure that a bunch of Romanians can get access to the console that Soulja Boy sells.
Also, why can't Israel do it?
Yeah.
Aren't they they're supposed to be our only ally over there. Why can't they do all this shit? Why can't they defend the Red Sea? It's right there. They're literally on it. They have coastline on it.
We don't even make them pay for their own armaments. There's no way we would make them do this. No.
Clean up your own backyard.
It's such a waste. It is such a fucking waste. I hate Operation Amazon Prime.
And to Captain Chowda Hill's assessment that he's like, oh, we're here to protect lives. We're saving lives by being here. It's like the only reason that the fucking drones and missiles are getting fired at these container ships is that our country won't stop killing people in Gaza. We just won't fucking stop. We won't stop doing it. We could get the Soulja Boy console could be the people of Poland could have the Soulja Boy console tomorrow if we simply told Israel to stop doing this shit. But it's just on top of this, I started scrolling through Chowda Hill's Twitter account, and he does this thing where he photographs, as he calls them, the warriors on his ship, and he photographs himself feeding them cookies. And there are numerous, he wants to highlight the men and women in his service. Like he says, this young warrior from Olive Branch, Mississippi, recently turned 19, and his parents and sisters wanted him to have a cookie. Done. He says to them, "Thank you. I love you and miss you guys." His advice to young folks thinking about joining up: jump after it. He gobbled up his cookie and then went back to work on the MH-60S helicopters. But Felix, you scrolled through this guy's account. It's a lot of stuff like this. It's
yes,
it's like his dog and stuff, and it's just a lot of stuff with cookies.
Yeah, it's a very Johnny's son vibe. Like if Johnny's son was the captain in the Navy. And I just, this is probably what Tony Soprano felt like when Meadow would come home from Columbia and be like, "Oh, we watched a movie today. It costs $90,000 a semester." That's how I feel reading Chowder Hill's Twitter account. If we're going to pay for nuclear powered aircraft carriers to just, fart around in the Red Sea and not really accomplish anything, I at least want the old style of naval commander. I want the guys who won World War II. I want a guy whose mom made him wear a dress to high school every day.
We still have those guys. They were dicking around in Normandy the other week. Why don't we just send them down there?
Yeah,
they know how to fight. They were trained when men were men, when we had a real military in this country.
It's like the end of Peter Berg's Battleship.
We had a real military, guys who would cry and vomit in every argument they were ever in. They won. Not this new crap. It really depressed me. I really did not like seeing Chowder Hill's entire affect.
Okay, so there's one where he's retweeting the Twitter account of the USS Eisenhower, and the post he's retweeting is POV. You're a CIWS on the hashtag best damn ship in the Navy. Sailors operate the close-in weapons system (CIWS), primarily used for self-defense of the ship during CWIS?
It's you call it a CWIS, even though that is the acronym.
Okay, well, it's a huge Gatling gun that they use to take out incoming missiles or drones that are coming on the ship.
Yeah,
and it goes during a pre-action calibration firing to maintain proficiency, and then he retweets this. It's a video of a Gatling gun being fired, and then he goes brap hashtag best damn ship in the Navy, and seriously, this makes me no. It's not that the Navy is, if anything, it's not woke enough, because we, like you said, we need to bring back men like Douglas MacArthur, real Queenie assholes who just basically like you said, whose mother dressed them in a skirt, and then here's a funny fact about Dwight.
They used to get all the gay shit out of their system, and then they would act manly. They would wear a dress, they would have sex with each other's assholes, and then they would get down to business.
Yeah. They weren't going around the ship being like, "Here's a cookie, dilly dilly." Remember the commercial? Yes. They weren't it wasn't positive vibes. They were all like, "I'm gonna quit the war to go marry my niece. I hate you. I hope you die." And they would throw up and they would cry and then they would win the war. That's how it used to be.
It's also 122 degrees in Mecca right now, so it's probably really fun to be on that ship.
Nothing I like more when it's hot out than a cookie while sitting on the deck of an aircraft carrier.
A nice hard cookie.
Yeah.
And then he has like he posts like positive aphorisms called "The Power of Now," which he says are great advice for humans. And it's just, you're right, Felix. It's like, it's not really like the woke military. You're exactly right. It's like the jomney sun military. It's just this kind of like soy Star Warsification of everything, where it's just like,
It's not even woke. It's like they talk like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. It's like just this like this very like forced, today can be the best day ever if you just put one foot in front of your left. Like it just that whole like bullshit affect is it's just I would take anything over that. Give me woke, give me the Gilbert and Sullivan Navy, give me Douglas MacArthur, give me Captain Queeg, give me anything. Just
Captain
not this.
Bly. Yeah.
Anybody. We don't have any cool captains anymore.
Yeah. No, but compare the Twitter account of Chowder Hill. I mean, like, I feel that like this does, against all better judgment, make me like an angry American nationalist. Compare the Twitter account of the USS Eisenhower to those videos that Houthis were doing when they landed that helicopter on that ship and took it over.
Yeah,
like their propaganda is so on point. It's so cool, and I'm like, yes, I want to join that army. Let's fucking go. And then like this cornball is giving cookies to sailors. Sailors should get a ration of rum if they haven't been flogged that day. That's it.
The Houthis are doing the coolest videos ever, like drone shots of them boarding a ship. But then there are also like funny moments. They're not doing this like, you get a cookie because it's Wedge Antilles Day. No, they're like, we gave cot to the entire crew and we're all high off this plant. It's actually heartwarming. That's a real post-credit scene. That's the real shit from Avatar.
Yeah, why don't those people do cot? Why don't they do cot? We don't have masculine, manly guys like Lawrence of Arabia who would go down there and live like them and see what it's like and chew the cot.
Douglas MacArthur would have gotten addicted to cot. He would have he would have done cot until he has like a manic break and he like gets naked on the poop deck. And everyone yells at him, and he threatens to kill himself. No, but no, not our new guys, Nope. But yeah, no, every Houthi video I've seen, I know this isn't the intention. They're not trying to do this, but it gets me pumped up to go to the gym. I know that it's a different cause, but it's just they're really motivational. Nothing like that coming out of the American Navy.
And it's just like, and it's so like all of this positive, like soy, like, power of positive thinking. Here's a cookie. The fact that it's all in an effort to just let Israel continue to do a fucking genocide and like, and do a genocide in a way that doesn't disrupt the delivery of the Soulja Boy console to Eastern Europe. Like it's just. It's so gross. And actually, as long as we're talking about it, here's a fun fact about General Douglas MacArthur. When he was accepted into West Point, his mother moved to West Point to a house right outside the campus. And rather than spending his formative years with his comrades and the soon to be officers, he had dinner with his mother every single night he was at West Point.
Yeah, no, that's like
he said he would return, and he did.
That was the difference between like him and Eisenhower. Like Eisenhower had some funny aspects. He fell in love with the girl who drove his Jeep, and he was like, "I'm quitting the war." And Marshall had to be like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're in love. Like, shut
week.
the fuck up. Like, get it together." But he was like, he was still like, he was kind of a Chad at West Point. He like played cards and gambled. It was really cool to play bridge.
He used to have the broccoli haircut.
He had the broccoli haircut
when he was 21.
But MacArthur had a very Seymour Skinner lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I that really is the thing. If they were just like, if this was just like they were doing a training exercise or it was on their own time and they were like we're gonna make a skit where we pretend we're on the Death Star, but it's really about Mental Health Week. I'd be like, okay, fine, that's your business. But it's in service to an act of genocide. That it's like it's just like, you know, like if
can't you dick around somewhere else?
Yeah.
Can't you go to the Pacific and like look for drowning people or something?
Yeah.
You're not doing it. They're not doing anything. They're not accomplishing anything. The shipping's still blocked. The Houthis are still there.
What if the SS was sending people telegrams that were like, 1, you read this wrong. 2, you're smiling now. 3, send this to someone you like. Everyone would hate it.
It was a good segue. I mean, to compare the SS of the past to the current movement that aspires to follow in their footsteps. The America First convention was sort of held in Detroit this week or over the weekend. Like it was scheduled, but they had to move venues. This is Nick Fuentes's America First PAC, and it was held in Detroit as counter programming to the Turning Points USA PAC convention. And I just thought it was like, over the weekend, I thought it was just like an interesting contrast between sort of like the two kind of like online political movements that are vying to sort of like get behind the wheel of MAGA. And the sort of like interesting dichotomies and sort of contrast between the two of them. And it says here, Nick Fuentes forced attendees to do his custom Pledge of Allegiance. Quote, I solemnly swear that I will put America first and will put Israel last every single time because Christ is our king. So there's sort of like, there's the anti-Zionist Christ is king Nicholas Fuentes contingent. And then there is the pro-Zionist Christ is awesome, sort of Benny Johnson, Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec, who like at their convention they were that Trump spoke at, they were handing out baseball hats and towels that said "White Boy Summer," and I was reading like breathless media accounts. They were like, "White Boy Summer" is a well-known phrase used by white nationalists, and I'm like, well, you know, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, they've fallen a long way from Arbach to Fry.
Yeah, no, it just. I saw a video of Benny Johnson performing, I guess you could say, and he said,
voguing.
Voguing. See, Benny Johnson was serving cunt this weekend, and he said,
he was
my best advice to young men is to fall in love, and it's like, yeah, that's what you did, all right. You are in love in your legitimate marriage. You are 100% in love, LOVE, with your wife.
It is kind of funny that they're fighting over whether you should be anti-Semitic and love Jesus or pro-Semitic and love Jesus. Yeah. And there's kind of the third option there, like Varg or Nietzsche or someone who would point out that that's all Jewish shit. You're worshiping a Jewish guy from Israel, and you're just importing Jewish morality and writing over the worship of heroes and strength and warfare and the spilling of Gallic blood and all the things that used to animate Europeans. No one's saying that shit. They're just saying, like, yeah, we hate Jews, except this one. Except the most famous one. I like the most famous Jew.
That's why Varg is great. He's like, no, don't like join a church. Like, live in your car next to your neighbor who's a farmer and bother him all day.
Learn runes on your phone.
Yeah, learn runes. Try to live like you're in the Assassin's Creed Viking game, but more racist, and play My Frog.
Like, that's at least, I find it a little more endearing, even though it's also incoherent, because you can't, that horse is out of the barn. You're not making Europe pagan again. That is not happening. Like, historically, with materialism, the material conditions for that are just not here anymore.
I do appreciate, like, the moxie in trying. Like, trying to do that after the invention of, like, books. I really love his attitude. But yeah, it's more endearing. It's more coherent, even though it isn't very coherent in and of itself. But yeah, no, the thing I noticed from this weekend, the AFPAC conference, like, okay, who's really fighting for the white race? significantly more diverse than a Chapo live show audience. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, it's significantly more
really
diverse than one of
fighting
our
for
live
white
shows, and also significantly more diverse than the Turning Point USA conference, which was like, Charlie Kirk, Benny Johnson, Jack Posobiec. And I have there's a comment from an attendee here of the AFPAC conference who says, there were plenty of non-white men there too, and I sense zero racial animosity in the air other than from the Godfrey Hotel security, who wouldn't let specifically us use the bathroom while other bar guests could do. Overall, an impromptu but really memorable, high energy time. And like one of the big attendees of the AFPAC conference was the streamer Sneeko, who got his teeth knocked out by a security guard.
We got Sneeko here. He's got this busted up tooth. Smile for me, man. This was the security guard at this thing, at this event right up here. Right up here, we got this guy jumped off the stage. No one attacked this guy, punched Sneeko in the face. No one touched him. He jumped off the stage, hit Sneeko in the face. I watched the whole thing happen.
But I think he's half Filipino, half Haitian, and has converted to Islam last year. But there's a lot of I don't know. There's sort of an irresolvable tension here, specifically about what is the face of the new right in America, and who's going to be getting the clicks, views, and subscriptions off of that. And the answer is if you're a woman or non-white person, then it's sort of the sky's the limit, but there's also a hard cap on it, because there's always going to be this tension between I am, as a woman or non-white person, I'm going to appoint myself as the kind of youthful voice of this movement that regards me as something less than human. Did you see the thing about that? It's just another one of these conservative women who become influencers in what seems to be 48 hours. Out of this woman Lily Gaddis, who's this she's a person who was everywhere this week. And basically, she just got famous for saying the N-word. And now she's oh, she's based. We love her. But then it turns out she's a single mom. And people are already accusing her of being a race traitor and a, I don't know, Jewish or something. It's just
I mean, single moms of mixed race kids, the white moms, sometimes they say that.
Yeah,
it's been known to happen.
I have noticed that's a huge contingent of the new right. Single mothers of mixed race kids who say the N-word. That used to be an apolitical group.
Yeah.
That used to be just
Obama probably won that by a lot.
That used to be your friend's older brother's friend that he didn't really like.
There are people who were on OnlyFans 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And the numbers went down, so they had to put on the sundress and say, "Don't you want to marry me?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I just have to say, too, maybe I'll eat my words here, but I just I don't think any political movement where okay, you just had your big conference. What is your statement about the future of America? They didn't let us use the fucking bathroom. I don't think they're gonna take anything over. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong. But would that's your headline? They didn't let us use the bathroom at the bar? You don't have anything else to say?
It's interesting that they let you be transracial on the far right. You can just be a Somalian white supremacist and no one says anything. It's like the mirror image of what they say about the left. You've got men pretending to be women and women pretending to be men, and you all just are cowed into not saying anything because it would be awkward, and you just deny reality. And then over there they've got Filipino Haitians who are white supremacists, doing the Sig Heil. It's what the fuck is going on?
They've got 10 million Indian guys all pretending to be Hitler.
They have a Somalian pedophile who's I'm gonna bring back white people. Okay, who's delusional here?
But no, I saw a pretty funny argument. It was just two guys arguing with each other over the AFPAC conference's inclusion of Sneeko, the Filipino Haitian Muslim streamer who is a darling of the far right now. But they were one guy was arguing Sneeko is a Trojan horse to Islamism, which is the biggest threat to Christendom and the white race in the West. And then the person arguing against him was saying, yeah, he is, but he hates Jews too, and he's willing to fight our real enemy, the Jews. And it was just a question of who is the more present enemy to be confronted right now? Is it Jews or Muslims? Because if it's Jews, then we'll let the guy who converted to Islam last year be a spokesperson for our movement before getting his teeth knocked out by a security guard. But like
Islam has the same problem, the Varg problem.
Yeah.
Muhammad was basing that on Jewish stuff. He heard all the Jewish stuff that came down the trade routes, and you're adopting Jewish morality again. You got to go pagan. You got to go Arab pagan.
Yeah, can I just say too that this really reeks of a conversation I remember seeing in February of 2020. It was two guys arguing, and they were like, "I'm voting for Bertie, but I plan on overthrowing him afterwards."
That wouldn't be that hard.
That's like after he's president, we're going to overthrow him and kill him in a revolution. And it's every day on the right, there's a new, like, what would your job be after the revolution type thing. That's really all there is. It's just, what are you going to do after we bring back white people? I'm going to be a
token black guy. Token Filipino. Token Indian. That's my job.
Yeah, I'm going to be a therapist who gives white men therapy to repair their trauma of living under Jewishness.
Well, I was looking at another sort of thread to be pulled out here is the Lily Gaddis, the trad wife influencer who got famous a week ago for using the N-word, went viral for a video where she said, quote, "If you're not getting knocked up, you're a loser." And I guess like she is shading on her own status as a single mother, but she's just saying like, yeah, like if you're not having kids, like fuck you, like, you know, what are you doing for America? But like this dovetails with Felix, something you brought up, what Benny Johnson was doing at the Turning Points USA thing. It's like there's a new thing where they say they're trying to get to sort of stoke young people into a campaign to, quote, outbreed the left. And they're like, oh, like, yeah, there is a place for young women in our movement. It says wives and mothers, and just start having those kids as early as possible. We got to outbreed them. The future belongs to us. And this from Daily Dot here. It says, far-right figures Chaya Raichik and Charlie Kirk both said they have
Chaya Raichik, by the way, she posted, I want to have a lot of kids someday. And I'm sorry, you are 37.
Yeah,
like are you insane? Are you out of your fucking mind?
You're 580 years old in Chabad years. You are done. Like what? Who is going to marry you? Who is going to marry you in the Chabad movement? They haven't found a hunchback who's desperate enough.
Well, yeah, no, like so she says here, they both said they had a plan to, quote, outbreed the left this week by having more children than liberals and raising them to have right-wing views. Both of their statements are being memed online. And it says here, last weekend, Kirk hosted his organization's Young Women's Leadership Summit. On Sunday, he tweeted a video of mothers who attended the event. "We're going to win either now or later," Kirk tweeted, "when we outbreed the left." And then it says, and on Monday, in response to the tweet from X and Tesla CEO Elon Musk about having children, Raichik tweeted that she plans on having a lot of them. "We're going to outbreed the left," she tweeted. "Then we're going to homeschool or send our kids to private schools so they can't be groomed into becoming activists for leftist causes." And then Alex, the tweet says, "I come from a family of 8. I plan to have a lot of kids. We're going to outbreed the left. Then we're going to homeschool." Okay, yeah, she's saying you come from a family of 8, but like, what do your brothers and sisters make of all this? It's like I guarantee you've got plenty of nieces and nephews.
I'm not sure what that's supposed to accomplish other than engagement bait, telling people to have kids or telling people not to have kids. Like there was someone who was screaming at Tom the other day because he made fun of someone who was like, "How could anyone have kids when there's a pandemic?
Oh, right. Yeah.
And there's economic problems," and just saying like, "Well, shut up, stop whining." Like no one's making you do it. And like, I don't think anyone's not going to have kids because they see a tweet like that. And I don't think anyone's going to have kids because they see Charlie Kirk say you should have kids. Like people who can afford to have kids and they have a house and they see something on YouTube and are like, yeah, let's do it. I don't think that's the difference ever. I think it's just the economics of it and just where you are in life and stuff.
No one is thinking like you're busting raw in your wife because you thought of what Charlie Kirk said.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of what Charlie Kirk is saying
you
to
last
stop
longer.
busting.
If you want to last longer, just think of Charlie Kirk the whole time.
And it's just, I don't know, like the language too is so telling because like even in like even in their like exhortations to like return to traditional values of big families and like sex within the context of marriage, they can't help but betray how absolutely porn fried their brains are. Is that they need to talk about this as breeding. They keep talking about breeding, and it's just like it's too much of a tell, like it's just even in like I said, they can't escape internet porn conventions.
That's the audience for this shit. It's guys who are addicted to porn and they jack off 500 times a day until the whole foreskin just comes off and it's all red and raw. And then they're the guys who get on the internet and say like, no one should ever jack off or look at porn. I think every man should be married and we should only have sex for procreation. And they just still have cum dripping down their leg. That's the audience for that shit. Because the people who are going to have kids, they're already doing it. The people that are going to have a trad wife, they're already doing it.
And crucially, they don't view having children or forming a family in terms of breeding. Breeding.
Yeah.
Like they're a fucking golden, like they're a bully XL or something.
Once again, it's like if the right had like any ability to get inside the minds of or communicate with someone who has not been driven insane by the computer, like maybe this would be a real mass movement, but that is not the reality.
They would have to pay people to do it.
Right.
That would be what you do.
Yeah. There's just like no normal way to approach this.
And also, I mean, like, even if you have 8 kids and homeschool all of them, I mean, like, there is a big problem for traditional religious communities of retention. And even the most successful ones of them, like, Church of Latter-day Saints, can only really muster about 50%. And that's the most successful. So, like, this idea that just having kids is like some sort of future demographic weapon is also rather foolhardy. But Alex, you're right. None of these people are going to have kids. I mean, like, if they were going to have kids, they already did. And and Benny Johnson telling young men that they need to fall in love to find their divine purpose. These guys are well into pornography addiction. Yeah.
Yeah. It is so funny that so many people are on the left because they had conservative parents. Like that didn't apply to me, but so many, probably thousands of people listening to this, they come from a conservative religious family and they got out. It's not a genetic thing. And sometimes it does the opposite.
Sometimes it goes the opposite
people with
way
atheist
too.
Parents, they become Catholic and they start going to mass.
That would be a more surefire way. Would be to become to be like Ned Flanders' parents.
Yeah.
That like you that's a more surefire way of creating a conservative. But
like try to force them to be gay and then just leave a Bible out.
Would you please tell your son to stop? We can't do it, man. That's discipline. That's like telling Gene Krupa not to go boom boom ba 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 boom boom ba 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 boom 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 ba 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 boom boom.
So like the AF pack and the TP pack. These are glimpses into what the right is trying to do to court the next generation of the most socially maladroit among us. But the Democrats are usually take for granted that the youth are on their side, but they're having a little bit of difficulty with that recently. So I have an article here from the Wall Street Journal. The headline is Biden campaign needs younger voters and younger celebrity backers. And basically the article is about how like the Democrats are they're lousy with fucking like Robert De Niro and like Meryl Streep and like celebrities who are well into their
Jane
60s.
Fonda.
Yeah. Bring her back.
Feels like they're throwing shade at her.
Yeah.
This article. We need some younger people. Oh, okay.
So it says here, Biden is getting high-profile celebrity support as he seeks a second term against Republican rival, former President Donald Trump. But so far, the star power has come from the over 50 set, including the 81-year-old president's close peers. De Niro, who has also led a combative New York press conference for the Biden campaign, is 80. Singer Carole King, who signed a Biden fundraising email this week, is 82. Director Steven Spielberg, 77, is working with organizers of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. The president's campaign says it expects more younger stars to engage as election day draws closer, which might be critical as polls show Biden needs to shore up support among young voters. Actors Jason Bateman, Kathryn Hahn, Jack Black, Cheryl Lee Ralph, and Barbara Streisand, 82, also played a role in Saturday night's events, which the campaign said raised $30 million, the largest Democratic fundraiser. A player in the effort,
I just have to say, this is how I found out Carole King was still alive. I don't know what that says for the Biden campaign. That like when they give a list of the celebrities that are working for them, you're like, wait, they didn't die?
Yeah, but, respect to Carole King, but I wasn't totally sure. Like if you had asked me, I would have been like 75% sure she's still alive.
And I gotta say, De Niro, like doing the press conference outside the Trump trial, that was. Come on, man. Like, you don't need to be doing that. Like, go to the fundraiser. But he was like yelling at people in the street, being like, Donald Trump's a mutt and a punk and he's a bitch. And, we're going to put him in jail. And it's just sort of like, come on, man.
He's been doing that since like before Trump.
I know. I mean, like, to credit to him, he's been doing this for years. I remember like he's been doing videos about Donald Trump for a while.
Before Trump even like stitched up the nomination in 2016, he was doing like weird videos where his face was too close to the camera and he was like, he's a fucking asshole. I don't know what he's accomplishing, but
he's very authentically boomer.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, that the MAGA terrorist did send a fake pipe bomb to his office in Tribeca. Remember that guy, Cesar Sayoc?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So De Niro's been targeted by some of the MAGA mobs. So I guess he's taken it very personally. But
people treated him like he tried to leave the mafia or something. Like that guy who smashed the picture of him.
Yeah.
Like, people just worshipped him.
Yeah.
The same thing probably happens when people find out Bruce Springsteen is a Democrat. They're like, well, fuck that. Every guy I like people, so many guys in New Jersey went through that process.
Oh my, can you imagine what would happen if James Gandolfini was still alive? Because he would have they would have made him do like an ad where he's like talking to a young voter and he's like, you can have America's dignity back or you can vote for a convicted felon. He would have been unfortunately all over the Biden netscape.
Oh man. You would have heard that Journey song a lot more times.
Don't stop.
But going on here, it says, a player in the efforts is campaign co-chairman Jeffrey Katzenberg, the 73-year-old Hollywood mogul and former studio executive who has become part of Biden's inner circle. It says Katzenberg has previously urged Biden to embrace his age, as have fellow octogenarians Harrison Ford and Mick Jagger. Which, like, to be fair, if I was Harrison Ford or Mick Jagger, it'd be easy for me to tell other people, like, yeah, being 80 is awesome. You don't slow down at all. This is great. Embrace it. Everyone loves it. It's like, well, yeah, you're Harrison Ford and Mick Jagger.
They don't really have to do anything.
Yeah.
Like when Harrison Ford's in a movie, they give him his lines and they cut out if he messes up. And Mick Jagger, he's singing his song from Muscle Memory from 1965. And it's probably on a teleprompter too. Like they're not asking him to debate someone off the cuff. That's a little bit different.
I love Harrison Ford, but like when I saw him in Blade Runner, it was like, does he even know he's in a movie? His scene was just like him wearing the world's like probably one of the first T-shirts ever made, and like sort of like day drunk talking to Ryan Gosling, and it's like, does he think he's actually his son?
That's good acting.
Yeah.
No, I feel like I had the exact same impression when I finally saw Blade Runner 2049, which is just like Harrison Ford was like, you have me for one day on set and I'm going to wear the clothes that I came in. Like, there's no wardrobe, no makeup. I'm just like me. And I'm going to talk. And it's also for like Jeffrey Katzenberg, who's like now in the inner circle, who's encouraging Biden to embrace his age. Like a 73-year-old, like, Hollywood mogul and executive type, like sort of master of the universe type. It's like, obviously they take it personally when everyone is making Biden's age an issue about like, can you be a competent executive figure? And then of course, these guys are all like, yes, of course you can still be president, lead singer of the Rolling Stones and Indiana Jones at 80 years old. Why would anyone say otherwise? In fact, he should be arguing that this is a strength of his campaign, is how old he is.
Saying to embrace his age is such a weird piece of advice because it's like, I don't really think he has a choice. I don't was anyone looking at Biden recently and like, he just looks so young.
It's way too late to embrace his age. You could have done that like 20 years ago, like when he was running in 2008, maybe. But like, what is he, 82?
He's an 82-year-old who has like a weekly facelift. He looks insane.
Like you can maybe do it if you're 70. If you're 70 running against like John F. Kennedy and he's 40, like you can say, well, I have the experience. But if you're over 80, there's just no upside to it.
Yeah, it's just like you're dead on that it is like a bunch of power 70-year-olds who like just intend on doing the Sumner Redstone thing and running their companies like the Emperor from Warhammer until one of their grandkids kills them. But it's just like, it's not the same type of old person. Jeffrey Katzenberg isn't going around, like walking around, whatever fucking company he works for now, like challenging a 23-year-old to a fist fight.
But it's like obviously they're aware of the sort of the youth gap here, and it says here some younger stars have made clear they aren't happy with the incumbent. Rapper Cardi B, 31, who backed Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders in the 2020 Democratic primary before supporting Biden, told Rolling Stone that she won't be voting for either candidate. Up-and-coming singer Chapo, 26, said in a recent performance that she was invited to the White House to perform for Pride Month and declined. Some younger celebrities who haven't weighed in yet got involved much closer to Election Day last time. That includes pop star Taylor Swift, 34, who endorsed Biden in an October 2020 magazine interview, and actress-singer Zendaya, 27, who tweeted her opposition to Trump on November 2nd, 2020. Vote this MF out. It says one new recruit to Biden's younger celebrity ranks is Damian Tekkkxas, a non-binary actor who recently appeared in the Netflix show Glamorous. Tekkkxas, 26, said the Biden campaign reached out to their manager. I was like, what campaign? What administration? They joked, and then took part in a call during which the campaign advisors talked about how new surrogates could be helpful. They said it could be as little as posting on Instagram or going on the trail or going out to events, Tekkkxas said, adding they were excited to offer a younger, diverse voice. But
who would be at the events who would know who that is?
Yeah.
So they're really hitting the star power hard with Damian Tekkkxas, a guy I learned about thanks to this article. But I just want to compare it to there's one other article here from the New York Times that says the headline is Joe Biden wants to go viral. It's not easy. Nor to
that
be
could
easy.
Kill him at this age.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, nor to be easy for him to catch a virus at this point, let alone go viral. But it says here, on a Friday afternoon in late April, President Biden brought celebrities and elite social media influencers together for a White House reception. Fran Drescher and David Cross mingled with Alona Mar, a rugby star, and V from @Under the Desk News at a mixer meant to generate warm feelings and badly needed pro-Biden content.
Under Jonathan the Desk News? What is that?
I have no
Sounds
idea.
Nasty.
They're sucking someone's dick? Let's see.
It says Jonathan M. Katz, an independent journalist and sharp critic of the administration, was shocked to get an invitation. When he met Mr. Biden, he pointedly asked about military aid to Israel and suggested he was supporting a genocide. Mr. Biden answered politely, but then appeared to grow impatient. I know you're a typical press guy, he said. I trust you as far as I can throw your phone. Aides then ushered Mr. Katz away.
But he also said he has a good arm, so he could trust him a lot. Like his old guy threats aren't even coherent anymore. Like when he said look fat, that at least kind of made sense. He was challenging fat to a push-up contest that presumably Joe Biden would win in. But this time he's saying, I could trust you as far as I could throw your phone, which is very far. What?
If Joe Biden challenged me to a push-up contest, I would accept. Because how many could he do? Maybe 10?
I think he could do a lot.
I think he could probably do more.
Like the fact that he's saying it means he probably still does push-ups sometimes. I don't want to say like he would try to do one and die. Like I think he could do a few, but I think the guy who he's talking to probably could beat him.
I think you're underestimating Biden, and you fail to understand a key feature of like that generation of men.
It was the only the only exercise when they were growing up.
Yeah. My dad was like he was a few years younger than Biden, but he was like roughly that generation of person, and like all of those guys to maintain the weirdest body ever, like a really flat stomach but sort of a wide bricky back. They would just eat 3 almonds, and right before going to sleep, they would do a bunch of push-ups. That is, if you were born around the Korean War or World War II, that's how you stayed in shape. That was the only exercise. They did not invent deadlifts and stuff until like after Vietnam.
Yeah,
I think
everything
he knows
else
a lot.
was under the category of aerobics, which was for women.
Yeah, like push-ups were the most accessible one because all the other exercises were like you put on a big turtleneck sweater and throw a medicine ball at your friend.
Going on here in the article, it says Mr. Biden and his allies are working furiously to build a comparable online army, trying to persuade, or in some cases pay, people to sing Mr. Biden's praises to their large followings. They are finding that social media feeds are difficult territory for an 81-year-old president whose policies on Gaza and immigration are unpopular on the left. It's clear that we have to use influencers or creators as a way to reach the future of the progressive movement, said Brian Rowling, co-founder of Murmur Impact, a group that has worked with liberal causes on mobilizing Gen Z voters. But we talk to a lot of young people, and they're just not on board with Biden. The president's campaign is working to change that. While often issuing interviews with legacy media outlets, he has granted FaceTime to friendly social media eminences, such as Daniel Mack, who has won more than 20 million online followers by asking people, "What do you do for a living?" The video with Mr. Biden filmed at the Detroit Auto Show went viral, notching 40 million views on TikTok, but it fell far short of the 60 million views Mr. Mack got for an interaction with the founder of an Italian supercar manufacturer who doesn't speak English. It's like,
Man.
and it's like they're like, oh, like we need all these influencers on TikTok. Didn't you just outlaw TikTok? Are you getting rid of TikTok?
Yeah, that
Like, what
was
the fuck?
signature. That was the signature policy victory of the Biden administration in this last year. Besides, like signing Trump's immigration policy into law, those were the two things: banning TikTok and doing the Trump immigration plan.
I don't know what you can do. He should be going after legacy media because this is just not going to result in anything. Like it was sort of a natural thing that happened with Obama. People were dumber back then, but every celebrity was willing to endorse him because he seemed cool and he was young and he could speak. But now, like, I don't know what you do. You can reach out to some people and put a thing on their TikTok for $500, but who is that going to convince to vote?
Well, all of this
It's just such a waste.
all of this, when you read these articles, like it's just like they pay lip service about like, oh, like, an 81-year-old whose policies on Gaza and immigration are not so hot on the like. All of this is just bargaining to try to deal with the fact that they're just not going to stop doing what they're doing. They're not going to stop killing people in Palestine. They've adopted Trump's own border policy to end asylum for refugees trying to enter this country. And then they're like, oh, well, we got to do something about this on TikTok. Young people don't like us anymore. It says here, since February, when the Biden campaign officially joined TikTok, it's like, how about that for hypocrisy? How do you join TikTok when you're trying to you outlaw it? You ban the
Isn't it
community.
February of this year?
Isn't it supposed to be a Chinese spying operation?
Yeah.
You said it was a Chinese spying operation. Oh, let me just join up. What?
Yeah, that was a really dumb thing for young people to try to ban TikTok. That was a completely unforced error. And I don't know, did that shore him up with boomers? I don't think so.
Well, once again, it's like, why do they ban TikTok? Not because it's a Chinese spying platform, but because young people get their news from TikTok, and the news that they get on there is look at this fucking genocide happening with the full support of the U.S. government and Joe Biden, the president of the United States of America. And that's what they can't deal with. So this says here, since the Biden campaign officially joined TikTok, it has posted more than 200 times and garnered just over 375,000 followers. Mr. Trump joined TikTok less than 2 weeks ago. But yeah, that is really bad. That is really shit.
That sucks dick, dude. Like, there are TikTok accounts where it's just like, I don't know. It's like the typical, like, Philadelphia shit. I'm going to eat a fucking rotisserie chicken every day. Or it's like, a mom with 7 disgusting children. And they all have 30 million followers. This sucks.
Even if you have the followers, it doesn't really translate. Like, this stuff doesn't come off TikTok. Like, sometimes people screenshot it and put it on Twitter, but a lot of the time people, you look at someone who has like 10 million followers on TikTok, and then you look at their Twitch stream or something, and it's got 2 views.
There are many cases of that.
Hey, I'm a petty officer on the USS Eisenhower. Of course I like eating triple chunk chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
I think you should get court-martialed for using TikTok if you're in the military.
I agree with that.
Because it is banned.
Yeah.
You're disobeying orders that came from the commander in chief.
There used to be a lot. There used to be a lot of a lot of talk about the click-through rates on various social media sites, and like the at least the older calculus, like 10 years ago, was that Facebook had a higher click-through rate than anything else. There was a more like pliant and suggestible audience. With TikTok, because it's so short format, yeah, you can get a shitload of views and have a lot of people follow you, but it probably has like one of the lowest click-through rates out of any of those things.
Yeah, they're not leaving the app. They're just going to the next video.
Especially if you're not even like selling a product that people want. If you're like A, trying to make people vote for someone, and B, the person you're trying to make them vote for, the underlying message is, hey, I know you like kind of don't want to do this. I know this kind of sucks. I know you kind of fucking hate this guy, but
just come on. Come on.
Come on.
Just
what are you going to do?
Stop bitching.
Felix, it's funny you bring up the click-through rate, the click-through rate for Facebook. And I remember like Facebook really used to be like the gold standard for like, how people got their news, or like effective online, penetration or sort of capture. I really wonder if that's the case now, because it really does seem like most of Facebook are just posts like, why don't photos like this trend? And it's some unholy AI generated image of like 6 Korean stewardesses pulling Jesus Christ out of a Jello bath or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like a kid with 8 legs crying, being like, why am I poor? No one likes me.
They automated like Thomas Kincaid in that, was it Thomas McNaughton or John McNaughton?
John McNaughton,
yeah. The guy who would draw like the president's crying because Obama was stepping on the Constitution.
Yeah.
And shit like that. AI has just completely automated that. So you have a picture of like a truck carrying 10 trillion flags to the Washington Memorial.
It is really funny how all these conservative guys were like, oh, when AI takes over, all these woke writers are going to be out of a job. And the only thing it's displaced is like that.
Yeah.
Like guys who draw like the most baffling paintings.
Oh, they're like, oh, these blue hairs with the goddamn nose rings are on TikTok, just believing anything they hear on the internet. Meanwhile, they're proposing marriage to an AI generated image of a woman with like a bird's body. It was like, please, I need a husband in the USA. And they're like, ma'am, I would love to take you on a Valentine's Day date.
I'm so confused by that stuff. There'll be like an AI generated picture of a woman where it's like, it's literally her head on a pair of legs, no torso. And the guys replying to it are still horny. And it's like, are they like making an actual calculation where they're like, well, I'm like 62 and like immobile, and she's pretty hot, but doesn't have over 60%
breasts
of her body.
or an abdomen.
Yeah.
So like
she has the wrong number of fingers, so
maybe
should
she'll
make her a little
lower
more
her
attainable.
she'll lower her standards for me. It's like how the Melanie Mac repliers are more bold to that conservative N-word woman from this weekend.
Gaddis,
like when they reply, the guys who like are like kiss Melanie Mac's feet and are like, she would never get with a guy like me. When they saw that Gaddis woman, the sort of Sean Penn looking one, they were like, all right, I could actually hit on her.
They kind of do that with Melanie Mac too, because she's 37 and like lives with her parents and stinks and doesn't remember to drink water. They're like, yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Goes to the hospital for drinking Gatorade. She's awesome. I love her.
She's like dumb enough that I could really get in there and fix her problems, even though I have all the same problems but worse.
We could go on Gatorade dialysis together.
Yeah. We could split a cab to the hospital.
Just to finish out the Biden viral article, it says here, Julian Sarafian, a lawyer who represents influencers and posts about legal issues, was invited afterward. After he created a video of himself dancing to Kendrick Lamar's song outside the White House, while a list of Biden White House wins pops up on the screen. They want people who are not going to rock the boat and be in line with their messaging, said Mr. Sarafian, who has 320,000 TikTok followers. Finding those people can be tricky for Mr. Biden. Joshua Das, a political poster who lives in Chicago and posts about politics, race, and basketball, was recently contacted by Village Marketing, the firm hired by the Biden campaign, and offered a potential interview with the president at the Democratic National Convention. but Mr. Doss was put off when the agency specifically asked him to avoid discussing the war in the Mideast. I couldn't imagine going to my audience, given how upset they are about his handling of this issue, without talking to him about Gaza, Mr. Doss said. He initially declined, but later said he would agree on the condition that he be permitted to ask a tough question about the way the economy is affecting black people. Village Marketing did not respond to requests for comment. The Biden campaign declined to comment on discussions. So
that is a major thing that, like, they're just asking all these people whose entire livelihood depends on, like, their audience trusting them, and they're like, hey, can you saddle yourself to the most unpopular guy ever for $1,000?
Yeah. Do you want to do a deal directly with the president?
Yeah, do you want to can we just tie you to one of the most hated people in America for not that much money?
But traditionally among the, they're like, yeah, we need youthful influencers who don't think or believe any of the things that young people do. Like, I mean, how else are you going to get people to be in line with this shit? And like, oh, I get to ask one tough question about the economy. That is pathetic. And also,
those people are already like Democratic staffers. Those people probably work for John Fetterman, like the actual young people who toe the Biden line, and they're really enthusiastic about Joe Biden. They're in the fold. Like those people, you don't need to do outreach to those people because they work for you.
Yeah, but they're trying to expand the youth vote beyond just people who they directly pay their salary of.
Yeah, there aren't any more though. I don't think there are.
There's
anymore.
none. Yeah, there's not many to be had. Alex, out of the WFYM roster of, shall we say, online influencers that are in your orbit or under your microscope, who do you think would be the best, like the most useful for the Biden or for Village Communications to reach out to and do a deal with Biden to get them to start doing Biden content? I
bet if you got an endorsement from Joey's World Tour, or you had Biden get in the car with him, that could win over some votes.
Okay, that would it like. I think if you made Biden eat any of Joey's like regular review staples, though, it would probably kill him.
He should also go on Hot Ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can give him fake food. Like it can just have barbecue sauce and he can be like, oh, Jack, damn, that's hot. Cause it might kill him. I don't know. You could try it.
I would love to see what a with the Reaper sauce would do to Joe Biden's gums at this point.
It would reap him. He would be reaped and sent straight to hell.
I just talking about like people who work for Fetterman. I really like that one guy, Adam Gentleman,
whatever. Adam
Gentleman. Yeah, I like it. He's my favorite.
Did he just quit though?
I don't know.
He jumped out of the car while it was moving.
Yeah. He's my favorite. He's my favorite one of those guys because he does my favorite move that people do, which is like, this place is a fucking cesspit. I'm leaving. And not even like 6 hours later, they come back. And another thing. They just, like people who are constantly taking social media breaks, like taking breaks within those breaks.
Yeah.
I think he did leave, actually. I do remember that. I don't know what
he did leave. He decamped to safer car rides and greener pastures.
Yeah. It's just, Are they going to arrest Fetterman for attempted murder for trying to kill his family in his car catastrophe?
I don't know if they were in the car. I don't think they would get in the car with him.
His wife was in the car.
Oh, was she really?
In his most recent car accident. Yeah.
Damn. I think after like the third crash, I would not get in the car with him. That's what his aides were saying in that article.
Yeah.
They were saying like they used to take rides with him and he would just be swerving all over the road and they take their own car to the same place.
Well, just to wrap things up for here today, if any representatives from Village Marketing are looking for someone with a fairly politically engaged and fairly large social media platform who's willing to sell out to support the president and be seen with him, it's at Will Menaker on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, just hit us up on X, the everything site.
Yeah. But it's going to cost you though. All right, that does it for today's episode. To wrap it up, Chris, you got anything?
Yes, we do actually. We are launching a new little series of video shorts that are going to be coming out throughout the summer. Created by Vic Berger and the Vic Berger Video Squad, including Ben Craw and Oliver Noble. They reached out to us earlier this year because Vic wanted to return to one of his longtime muses, the weird world of Donald Trump. So starting with a little teaser supercut I'm going to put up tomorrow, they're actually putting together a 3-part documentary in the inimitable Vic Berger style about Donald Trump's, kind of life in exile outside for the last 4 years.
His Avignon papacy in Mar-a-Lago.
Called The Phantom of Mar-a-Lago. And I've seen some cuts of these, and they have found some really incredible footage of what life at Mar-a-Lago is like. So that's going to be releasing in about 3 10-minute chunks over the course of the summer. And then at the end, in a big 30-minute mini doc. And the way we're going to be putting these up is exclusively on Patreon for the first week, and then a little later they will be on YouTube. So look for the Silence of the Lamb. We're going to do a supercut tomorrow as a bit of a teaser, and then the first episode should be out right before the debate the week after next, or next week, I guess. So yeah, just keep an eye out for those Vic Berger supercuts hosted on Patreon and then eventually on our YouTube channel.
Excellent. Very much looking forward to the Phantom of Mar-a-Lago. All right, gang. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.